Welcome to the Half-Blood Report.
The place for Percy Jackson news, interviews, and all things Riordan. I'm Samuel, your co-host.
And I'm Diego, your other co-host.
So I had a really bad nosebleed before we started recording, so I might sound really bad. But hopefully I don't sound really bad. I don't know how this audio is gonna turn out with like my throat hurting and everything, and like stuff being in my body. So yeah, I don't know. So hopefully I sound just like my usual amazing self. So about the Demigod news.
Yeah,
I
about
was like,
that.
so I was like, okay, so like we can talk about like these Readriordan articles. There's like an interesting thing to say about that. Hey, this author tweeted this. I might want to talk about that. And those are some interesting discussions. So we actually will be talking about some of those stuff at the end of the episode. But Riordan gave us a really big announcement that I figure, we have to kind of address the elephant in the room right up top.
Minotaur in the room, I think, is the term we're going with.
Yeah. If you didn't know, Rick dropped an amazing guacamole recipe. And yeah, so like I don't know if you made the guacamole. I'm usually not really a guacamole person, but like I took his recipe, I made it, I added some blue dye to make it Percy Jackson style. And yeah, so like what was your opinion on the guacamole, Diego?
Well, I thought that personally it was like a little bit like too mushy. Like I don't know if it's just like the way that like I ground up the avocados or something, but like there was like a little bits of fibers in it and it made it like taste kind of weird.
Oh my god. Okay, Diego, you're taking this bit too far, okay?
Ladies and gents and others, Rick Riordan has announced that Percy Jackson will in fact be getting a Disney Plus TV show.
And it's live action.
Yeah, I mean like not to brag or anything, but like
Yeah, I mean, I know there were lots of people who were so I actually kind of feel bad because like half the fandom was hashtag Disney adapt Percy Jackson because they wanted an animated series so badly. But I'm not one of the people who wanted an animated series, so like I actually if you wanted an animated series, I feel bad for you, but I'm also really happy because it's live action. So
yeah, kind of
the point is Percy
conflicted feelings here.
Jackson is on Disney Plus.
Basically, we are super excited to see what happens. Obviously this is what
You
we've
sound
wanted.
so excited, Diego. You're like,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
we
no, no,
are
no, no, no.
really
It's really
excited.
because like
I'm so happy right now.
no, no, no. When
I
when
can't
when I talk
believe.
about this, I need I need to do some like serious thinking. This time it requires some deeper thought, some big brain discussion and meditations. It might also be the fact that I got 0 hours of sleep.
Bro, not cool. So Percy Jackson will be on Disney Plus. So here's what we know: live action series. First season will focus on the Lightning Thief. Rick and Becky will be on every step of the way. And Rick tweeted a picture of himself writing the pilot episode. So that's happening.
Yeah, that's like the way it should have been done. Like Rick is the writer and he should be writing the things so that we don't have like terrible things like what happened with the movies.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And I'm really excited that Rick is going to have sort of a much bigger role in this like he said we're going to be every step of the way. I'm like, okay, that's good. Like I don't know exactly what that means. Like are you like taking lots of
Yeah.
steps? Like are you going to like run around Disney like carrying all the papers? Like but no, every step of the way means he's going to be writing. And I don't know where like the steps like he might be writing on a treadmill. So
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on. He's just like holding a pacemaker in one hand and like a pen in the other hand and just going like, "All right, make sure to take a step with every word that you write so we can get this step count high."
Wow, I feel like we're gonna lose a lot of people. Like this
Yeah.
is a very niche joke right here.
Sorry about that, guys. Um, but yeah, no. I'm super excited. Of course, we're gonna have to wait forever because nothing live action is happening anytime soon.
True that, true that. So I do want to say that like I told my mom like about it, and she's like, "Oh, that's cool. I guess it would be like in the same vein of that like show that you used to watch." And I was like, "Well, I've watched multiple TV shows in my life." And she was like, "No, the one you and your sister watched, because my sister was there too." And I was like, well, we've watched multiple shows like as a family. I don't know what you're talking about." And so then she's like, the one with the special effects. I'm like, okay, that slightly narrows it down.
That's narrowing it down like two shows.
And then and no, and then she says the flashy superhero show.
Oh wow! I wonder which one that would be, Sam.
And the thing was that I immediately knew she was talking about the phase I went through with my sister where we watched the Flash on the CW religiously. But at the same time, the fact that it took my mother so long to remember the name of like the Flash, and then she came to the flashy superhero because like that could mean a lot of things. Like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
flashy superhero. I'm just gonna let for the older listeners out there, that could mean a lot of things. For the younger listeners, it only means the Flash on the CW. Okay. But yeah, so I got to make fun of my mom about that, and now I'm making fun of her on the podcast about it. But it's not, but it's okay because she doesn't listen.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think anybody listens, Sam.
Oh darn. Well, no, Robert. Shout out to Robert who does the damn meme page. He definitely listens because he makes memes about us.
Yeah, yeah. It'd
So
be kind of
yeah,
hard to make memes about something you don't listen to.
more of an extended shout out. At the damn meme page on Twitter. He makes memes about all the Percy Jackson podcast. Cool guy. He also has his own podcast, Consult the Oracle. He just reached his like 1 year of making memes, and he has 100 followers now. So or 100 more than 100. So congrats to him.
Yeah. The meme thing has kind of been recent. Like recently making memes for us, but he's been making memes like in the PGO universe, like for a year now. So yeah, definitely. He makes some really funny things and it's always enjoyable to kind of like laugh at those things. But I think we've extended this conversation a tad bit too long. So we're gonna move on to the next section.
I will say eventually we will have more discussion and have more thoughts. I don't know if I'm just gonna say check out Radio Camp Half Blood's episode feed on Wednesday.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say
Make
about
sure to tune into Radio Camp Half Blood on Wednesday.
if you want to know if you want to know more about our thoughts on the new hashtag Percy Jackson Disney Plus is the new hashtag Rick gave us.
Yeah.
Um
So yeah, make
I
sure to
think he
tune
was
in
like because some people were still tweeting hashtag Disney adapt Percy Jackson, like except it already happened. And some people were like, wait, no, we should hashtag Percy Jack like Disney adapting Percy Jackson. And some people were like,
because they're
well,
doing it
actually let's let and then some people were like, actually let's just hashtag Disney adapted Percy Jackson when they haven't even done it yet. And then some people are like, let's just say Percy Jackson, like just to hashtag like Percy Jackson and hope it gets trending. And then Rick is like, okay, I gotta save this fandom, so he does hashtag Percy Jackson Disney Plus.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's the new hashtag we're gonna be using.
We really are extending this conversation.
A bit too long. So yeah, let's move on to our kind of main section for the show today. Riordan review. So the section is pretty self-explanatory. We review either a recent Riordan book or a reread, and today's Riordan review is Sal and Gabi Fix the Universe.
We actually interviewed Carlos Hernandez about the book last week. It feels like a couple years ago. So make sure you listen to that episode if you haven't already. But now we are going to be reviewing the book because we
Yeah,
read it.
and as always, as always, there will be a spoiler and a non-spoiler review. So if you don't want spoilers for the book, you can hang for a bit and skip to the part that we drop in the description.
Yeah. So we like spoiler, non-spoiler review first, I should say. Uh, so Diego, what can you say about the book without spoiling either Sal and Gabby book?
Well, it was hilariously funny.
Hilariously funny? Oh, please explain.
Well, as you know, Carlos has a way of
I
like
I
making
didn't know you could use I didn't know you could use an adverb on an adjective. That's
Carlos is just like hilarious, and the way that he like manages to incorporate like funny scenes in the bathroom and using like potty humor but not making it potty humor, that I thought was really slick. And there's kind of like a lot of moments
slick,
in
you
the
say. Slick.
there's a lot of moments in the book where you can kind of like tell that like he thought about that sentence for like a couple minutes and then figured out the best way to do that. And I think that's kind of like super cool because the characters end up having like these moments where they just come across as like so like funny and smart.
Yeah, I really like the book. I think it takes a lot of the themes from the first Sal and Gabi book, but it also manages to take a lot of new themes into this book. And I feel the two books have different tones, but at the same time, just sort of the same feel. It gives you the same sort of experience reading either book, but there's a sort of a tone shift in the themes and of
Yeah.
obviously the time jump between the two books. So if you haven't read Break the Universe, I would highly recommend you do that. But then definitely come back to Fix the Universe.
Yeah, I definitely think that the this book took on like a more like not serious tone, but like it tried to delve into the ideas a bit deeper because all like the character exposition and stuff was already done. And I think that another like incredible just like little part of the book, like the book overall was good, but I think what makes this book good are like the little bits of it. And Carlos just does such a great job like ending and starting chapters to kind of like leave you on the edge of your seat.
If you don't want a spoiler review of the book, then there should be like a timestamp where you can go to where we talk about some of our Demigod news stuff and then to our outro. So just go in the
Yeah.
description where we say, yeah. So pause now. Oh, and here's your last spoiler warning.
Spoiler.
What are your spoiler thoughts on the book, Diego?
So I thought it was very interesting how like he played kind of with the two like Gabbies. But I feel like we could have had
You
like
you
a
mean the like 6 or 7 Gabbies?
yeah, but like those were just kind of there in the name. They didn't really do much. They kind
Except
of just
like save the day. They only
no,
save the
they
day.
just bust in at the end. Um yeah, but like we didn't really get much on them except for like their shirts and like their apparel. But yeah, with the two main Gabbies, the normal Gabby and the Fix Gabby, what's it called? Is her name Fix Gabby?
Well, they call her Fix Gabby. Some people call her Evil Gabby. I will say when we were interviewing Carlos Hernandez in November, he was calling her Evil Gabby, but the time the book came out, we got like Fix Gabby through and through until like one
Yeah.
mention of the name Evil Gabby, like at the in the epilogue.
I think it was really interesting how like Fix Gabby's Sal was romantically interested with her. So like Carlos didn't really have to like write an actual like romance between Sal and Gabby in order to get a romance between Sal and Gabby because he kind of
Yeah,
just like
that was smart. That was smart. I
that
will
was really
because
smooth because like if written badly it would just like
lower
Yeah,
the
it
sort of
would
quality.
the
And I'm
quality
not
of everything.
saying that like Carlos Hernandez is a bad writer and he would mess up romance. I'm just saying anytime you write romance, they're like you just
Anytime you write romance in a like children's book that isn't like romance.
the like it just exponentially becomes like harder to write in a good way. And so Carlos Hernandez kind of, if anyone shipped Sal and Gabi, then there was something in this book for them. But at the same time, if people were like, "Oh, I hate that ship. That sounds like a bad idea," there's still something in this book that will please them. So
Yeah.
I feel that was a smart thing that
Yeah,
Carlos
he kind
did.
of navigated around having to like make choices and decisions that could kind of like, mess up the characters a little bit by just like kind of like hinting at the fact that it had happened in the other universe. And kind of he brought it back in, I think, epilogue 3, but he didn't really have to write like any like smoochy awkward stuff, which I
Hmm.
thought was pretty good.
Yeah, it was some, as Diego likes to say on this podcast, but just generally, that was some big brains from Carlos Hernandez.
Big brain, very big brain. That's some ginormous brain stuff. And then I want to talk about my personal favorite part of, not the entire book because the entire book was good, but one of my favorite parts is my name was mentioned, and
Diego,
I
just because your name was mentioned,
no
it
no no
was
no no no
not
no no
a
Samuel
shout
Samuel
out. This was
Samuel
not an
no 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 no
Easter
no
egg.
no, no. It's right there and it says Diego.
Okay, but you realize Diego's also like one of the top 100 Latino names, right?
Okay. But I just like to say that my name, my first name and last name appear in the book. So therefore, I am a student at Kuleco. Well, I am a janitor student at
Your last
Kuleco.
name was
Yes.
mentioned.
Yes, there are 3 Gonzalez
Okay,
families who are at Kuleco.
okay, but you realize that Diego is the 10th most popular Hispanic boy name.
Okay, whatever.
So,
Samuel, just let me have it. Let me
I'm
have my
like
moment of
you
glory.
no, Diego, this is not a shout out to you, okay? You
Samuel.
gotta just accept that. You gotta accept that there are other
No.
Diegos in the world.
Samuel. I want it to be a shout out, Samuel. It is in my heart and soul and will forever be till the day I die.
So you're never just gonna admit that it was a total coincidence and that
No,
Carlos Hernandez
it
probably
was
wrote
not a
those bits
coinky
before he
dink.
ever met you? It was
It
oh,
was not a coinky dink.
it was not. You were
No.
definitely in this book.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. But kind of moving on. I
Oh,
think
you want to
like
move on now that
yes,
you're
yes.
losing the
We're
argument.
moving on. Stop, Samuel. But
Diego, do you want to give out the page numbers just for our listeners out there
oh
to
yeah,
make their own
I'm not
opinions?
sure what page number it is. Give me a sec to check. I found it. It is chapter 10, page page 875. Page 875. It says Diego. In the list of names, it says meet my custodial compañeros. This is Rosa, Diego, Dominic, Maria, Rodolfo, Isabel, Yamil, David, Lionel, Dolores, and Isadora. Sorry.
Okay, so according to you, Carlos Hernandez wrote you in not as a student of Quocal, but as a janitor.
As a janitor. I'm
Okay.
the greatest janitor. I'm the greatest janitor anyone has ever seen, ever.
I bet Carlos Hernandez is like, I met this really cool kid. He interviewed me. I should make him a janitor in my book.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
what
pretty
the heck
sure.
is Alexa doing?
It's just Alexis saying random things. Okay, yeah.
Well, it's getting
Carry on
on
with your
the
stuff.
recording.
Okay, I'm
Alexa, you're
Alexa. Shut up. No, but I'm 100% sure it is a mention because he wrote me in as a janitor in order for it to be funny. Because I'm
Uh,
so like janitorial. That's why. It's definitely a
I
mention.
don't.
Whatever you say, it's
Uh,
100% a mention. 110%
mhm.
a mention.
Yeah, that I you are so right. For certain.
Um, yeah. So let's move on because we've gone on a lot of tangents this episode. All right. So, what was your favorite part of the book?
My oh geez, my favorite part of the book. Oh, I don't. I really like the part where Yasmani was accepted and like got his own dad house at the Gabi or the what is it called
Real household or something,
the Real village Real town. I don't know.
something
It
like
was
that.
the yeah. I liked that part. That part was fun.
It was sweet.
Made me happy, warm and happy inside.
Yeah, because he'd been kind of like living with them, but kind of not. And it was kind of clear that he needed to find a place. I think it was good of Carlos to kind of find him like a good place, where it's not like, oh, he just suddenly Sal's brother or something, um, or he just suddenly like moves into to Gabby's house or something. But it's more like, oh, there's a village of houses in which the Reals live, and we're building a house for you, right? Like that seemed a much better way of like finding closure for that character than doing something that like would seem like not in character for the book.
Yeah, I totally agree with you because it it felt like so yeah, not a realistic way I would say to address the sort of uh underlying issues behind Yasmani. But like cuz in real life there aren't always going to be people as nice as the
Yeah, and there's
Reals
not always going to
and
be a football field in the back with miniature houses
yeah, but I just
built
feel
precisely for you.
that in the context of the story that
That
was
was
a
the best way.
really nice way, yeah, to sort of have that arc with Yasmani, and I feel in that the reason that's my favorite part of the book is because to me that was the sort of most emotional and heartfelt part of the book, especially when Sal kind of talks about how Yasmani may have never felt he had the option to be a hugger, but now with this like sort of new family and new village, she might.
Yeah, I thought it was a good way to put it, and it was definitely a sweet moment, as both we know and Sal mentions a lot of times. Another thing that I thought was super interesting about this book is that, like, I mean, it happened in the first book, but it happened a lot more in this book, where Sal kind of course, he's narrating the story, but he's more like, there are moments where like he asks you to guess what happens next, and he's like, do this, do
Oh my
that, and stuff
gosh.
like that.
That was a funny moment, but it was a moment that made me mad
Why?
because he didn't tell us he had whoopee cushions and we
Yeah,
needed to
yeah,
know about
yeah.
the whoopee cushions.
I guess those are sometimes, but then there's sometimes like, I forget, it's in the really beginning of the book where where kind of like Sal, it's kind of written like a text message or something. Um where
Oh
it
yeah,
says,
when he like does emojis and stuff.
yeah, there's like emojis all throughout the book, and then there's also things that are like puts top hat on and stuff. Yeah, look, right here, right here. But her biggest tell was the way she didn't change her facial expression unless she remembered to. My friends, that's not how humans work at all. Asterix puts on professor hats. Asterix. Ahem. Colon. Quite often, the Homo sapien species, blah, 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 blah. Right? Like, that's not dialogue or anything, but I thought it was like super, like, weird how, like, he managed to do something that, like, I've never seen before in a
Yeah.
book. It doesn't say like he put his top hat on or something. It's kind of just him telling us like in a silly
Yeah.
way
Yeah, Sal breaks the fourth wall a lot. And I do
a
want to
lot.
say this is completely unrelated from anything Rick Riordan. But I was thinking, okay, so characters break the fourth wall when like they're addressing the part that they're telling a story and they address the audience, right? But if a
Yeah.
character specifically says that they are breaking the fourth wall, this fact acknowledging the fact they're breaking the fourth wall, does that mean they break the fifth wall?
Wait a second. Wait a second. Yeah. I don't know what the first wall is, or the second wall is, or what the third wall is, honestly. But if you're breaking the fourth wall, then wouldn't acknowledging the fact that you're breaking the fourth wall, like breaking the fourth wall of the fourth wall, would mean you're breaking the fifth wall.
Mm-hmm. Basically.
That's some high level stuff going on right now. I think I'm gonna need
Yeah,
a little bit
we're
of
very
time to process.
intellectual on the Half
Yeah,
Blood Report.
yeah,
Forget about
very,
everything
very
we were talking about at the beginning.
exactly. Yeah, super intellectual. Um,
This,
yeah,
if you take one part away from this episode, it's our thoughts about the fourth wall. Okay.
yeah, because breaking the fourth wall of breaking the fourth wall, like, should ascend to like,
But
but
Diego, do you have anything else you want to say about Sal and
um,
Gabby?
I think the um, I think this is like not like a criticism, but I think it was kind of like strange how sometimes like something big was happening in one of the storylines and then like another storyline came into play. A lot of times like fix Gabby or like the universe was happening and then they were just like, "Oh yeah, we have to start working on Rump and Noche." And then it's like, "Wait, but no, like there's a lot more important things going on." And I thought that that was like kind of a little bit annoying at sometimes, but I understand like why it was necessary.
And I actually think that's like a part of Carlos's writing style, as we've seen with Sal and Gabby break the universe in his other books. But I also feel it is actually sort of representative of like the human spirit and the way we work, right? Sure, they may seem like they're focusing on like sort of unimportant things when like also the fate of universe is at stake. But on the same time, like we're in the middle of a global pandemic and we're still doing homework. So I feel that
Yeah.
the way humans will sort of justify doing almost pointless things in such dire times is something that comes to play in this book, and it's not sort of specifically stated, but sort of the actions the characters take with the different plot lines, and some of the plot lines seeming sort of less important than the sort of state of the universe ones. That's also sort of representative of what actual humans would do, right?
Yeah, because you never see them like sit down and like talk through their plan until like the last couple of chapters. Sal knows this since the 10th chapter or 7th chapter, I think. And then there's kind of like just there's no real time when like he sits down with his dad and Gabby and everybody and they're like, "Okay, so this is the game plan until kind of like the sister verse happens, but we don't really like hear their conversation aside from like a couple of early remarks.
Yeah. But I think all in all, it did make sense,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it definitely makes sense. I think like one last thing to say, to kind of like leave it off, and then we'll wrap up the episode. How come How come a class 9 AI who can run incredibly fast, right, and has incredible precision still needs a phone to use apps?
I think it was because it was so other people could use the app, right?
Yeah, but it's like, why is she using it? Like that, it makes no sense that. that in this society, like, phones are still a thing. And then, like, on top of that, the fact that phones are still a thing for highly advanced AIs connected to the endless sources of information and possibility, right? Like,
I disagree with you. I
hmm.
think there are ways to for it to make sense, but because it's a minuscule detail and we are running low on time, and we did sort of promise that we would talk about other stuff. Let's move on to the Demigod News Part 2.
All right.
I just want to quickly say so we got three promotional articles on Readriordan about Sal and Gabi. We got one article that sort of had like a bunch of quotes from sort of reviews of the book, like well received. Basically, just saying the books have been well received. You should buy them. Um, right. And so then we got two character spotlight articles, and one was on Fix Gabby and Principal Torres, and the other was on Aventura, and then Sal's parents. And so those also have character art and whatnot. So links in the description for all that cool jazz. Um, and then I wanted to say Reed Riordan released a very dumb article, and I didn't like this article. So Reed Riordan released an article where, like, in case you missed it, Uncle Rick is writing about Irish mythology, and like, yeah, this was like an interesting thing 3 weeks ago. Okay, now we're getting a Disney adaptation. Okay, like, I still am excited about it, but okay, this is a good time to post about it, Reed Riordan. And then they also said and then they also it's also like a very short article. It's like 3 paragraphs. So that was just very annoying to me. And I'm like, why are you wasting my time with this, Reed Riordan?
Yeah. I thought um like, I get that they're trying to mention it, but if they're going to do something, like, at least make it longer. I think I have to, like, scroll like once to get from, like, the top of the article to, like, the end of the article. I don't even have to scroll. Like, I can see the entire thing on, like, a phone screen.
And I want to say, like, I'm not like trying to hate on Reed Riordan. We love what they do over there. They do often produce some really amazing content, like recipes and quizzes, and like those Selling Gabby character arts. Like those were some really good character arts, that sort of challenged my perspective on what I thought the characters would look like, and that was an interesting thing to have. So that this article, it just kind of irked me that because I feel that Reed Riordan should be more timely with the articles, right? So, like, why release the Irish mythology article the week that you're also going to be talking about hashtag Disney? Like, Disney's finally going to say, like, yes, we are going to be adapting Percy Jackson, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like that just kind of annoys me. So, I don't know if anyone who actually has any pull at Disney listens to this podcast, right? But I'm just saying, I love I love you, people who do read Riordan, but you've disappointed me. Like this one time, you really disappointed me. Okay. Anyways, time to
I
wrap up the show. I'm
yeah, I
tired.
think yeah. I think we went a little bit overtime with tangents on this one. But yeah, that's it for this episode of the Half Blood Report. Samuel, how can I contact this podcast?
You can follow the show on Twitter at Half Report. You can also find us on Instagram at The Half Blood Report or email the show, thehalfbloodreport at gmail.com. We also have a website, thehalfbloodreport.com.
Yeah, and fill out the link in the description for the survey. I think we're going to be putting it up on Twitter. We almost have enough responses for Samuel to kind of like go on, but we still want like just a couple more just to make sure that like we're getting accurate accurate analyzation. Then again, I have no idea what the question is, so we could only need one survey for all I know. Sam.
That said, it's time for our credits. Our theme music is actually by Diego.
And Samuel does most of our editing.
My co-host here is Diego, and I'm Samuel.
This is the Half Blood Report podcast, the only HBO that matters. Survive till next week.